Welcome, everybody. Episode number 20 of How to Become a Sales Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Pods, and my co-host, Ty White.
How you doing, everybody?
How are you today, Ty?
I'm doing great, man. I'm feeling awesome.
How's Pack Pros doing?
Pack Pros is doing great, man. We've been getting busy for the past couple of weeks, and got a lot of new stuff coming into October. I'm excited for. We've been hitting, firing on all cylinders.
That's awesome. Glad to hear it. So we're going to jump right into why we're here. So Ty and I are here to help the younger men and women in the sales world cut down on the amount of years it takes to reach success. And success isn't just based on money, but it's based on achieving your goals, getting to the top quicker, not spending 20 years like I did before I actually hit that top slot. You know, if I could have done that in year 15 or year 12, my wife would really be a lot happier. You know, not that she complained, but she would be real, because she's told me how happy she is since I've reached this level and what it's meant for our life. And if I can help more people like you and your age group get there quicker, that's what I want to do with this podcast.
And in turn, I spread it to all of the people my age that would listen to me and might not listen to someone like you or people who are, you know, they don't believe it until they see it type people, you know, and they don't just take advice the way I do. I'm like, hey, I'll give it a shot. You know, I don't care to try anything, you know.
There's nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose, exactly. So.
And when we say people like you, it's just people. That's it.
I mean younger people, like
just people like you. I'm an old white guy.
Yeah.
You're a young black guy.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's the goal. We're going to jump into chapter 6. Part of the reason for choosing chapter 6, remember Dave Fisher from Pods?
Dave Fisher,
the whiny crybaby from Florida.
Oh yeah.
He's going to see this. Sorry, Dave. So in chapter 10, I'm with the Islanders, and one of the things that I learned that was really harsh was the lies of a comp plan, the lies that a company that wants to hire you will go through to get you hired, knowing you're good at your job, and then do everything they can to not pay you what they promised you. And in that chapter, there was one significant over the summer program where if you were given a number, and mine was $750,000. If you hit that on renewals, that's people who bought last year, buy again this year, you get a $10,000 bonus. Never read the fine print, said, who yeah. And when I got close to 750, they said they made a mistake, and it's now 900,000. And I was
moving the goalpost.
That is the word I always use, moving the goalpost. And when I hit 900,000, you know what they did. They now said it was $10,000 and the season was already on the way. Wasn't going to happen. And I bring that all up because my buddy Dave called me on Friday. How's the new job doing? Great, love the job. Regular pay is really good, a bunch more than Pods. I'm like, how's the comp plan? I hear silence. I'm like, come on, bro, give it to me. What happened? Well, let's just say all the accounts that they promised me didn't come to me. Let's just say all the revenue they said I would have coming to me didn't come to me, and we were missing a big part of my commission check. He goes, it's just the same shit, different companies. Like, I didn't even have to leave Pods. I could have stayed at Pods, and I'm like, no, I'm glad you left. It's all good, man. You're better off, changing when you're so strung up on getting screwed over, and it bleeds into your regular life. The reality of it is you got to look at the fine print of your comp plan, and that's what I have as my action statement. Got to look at the fine print.
Well, that's not the only time they did that, right? With the Islanders,
No.
We're
highlighting on that one.
You were selling out, and they didn't want you to get your people in the door. Right? And I remember that story from the book too.
But comp plans. My wife's been through it with me for 20 years, and you have to read the fine print, and you have to go into it knowing they could possibly screw me. Yeah, it's just the reality of a sales job. I'm going to get screwed.
And are you able to negotiate that going in? Is that, and then once you agree to it, you agree to it.
Yeah. So anyway, that was why I brought that up, because of Dave, and I wished him well. He's with another man that used to work with us at Pods who just got a promotion there, and that's all. I'm happy for both of them. But, the comp plan problem follows you wherever you go in the sales world.
That's the corporate
Unless
thing,
you're
man.
a guy like Rob, you work for yourself, and your comp plan is how hard you hustle and how much money you make. Kind of like what you do.
Yep.
New
That's why
segment.
that's foreign territory to me, the comp plan stuff.
Yeah. You don't even know what that is. All right. New segment. My best sports moment of the weekend. So
What
you
do
go
you-
first.
I'm not gonna go positive this week. I really was hyped up about the Jets last week, and then I was just like, wow, it was all
bad.
hype. It was all
ugly.
hype.
It was ugly. I watched every minute of the game in my office. I was working, and I'm like, this is just pitiful football. I got so much work done because it was so bad. I couldn't
I
watch
was
it.
also disappointed in the Ravens.
Ravens, they killed. Henry had an 86-yard touchdown
They
run.
lose at the end.
No.
I didn't finish the game. I thought that.
They smoked Buffalo.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, dude. Buffalo came back in the fourth quarter. I got to look back. I didn't watch the fourth quarter.
No.
What?
They got their asses handed to them. Henry had an 86
I saw that.
run.
Yeah,
They
I
said
saw
he
that.
was running 21 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Fucking 200.
As fast as the kid from Kansas City.
So Kansas City, Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
He's my guy. I love Kansas City. I've been a fan since Holmes came into town.
Yeah.
Because his dad played for my Mets. So I've always rooted on for him.
He always does good with a fast guy, with a fast receiver, man.
54-yard heave,
Yeah.
just down. It was amazing. Enjoyed the entire game. I was telling Rob earlier, on Sunday nights when we have dinner, football stays on muted. And
Yeah.
my wife was all into the game with me because, Taylor Swift and Kelsey. So she had a little extra.
I love how much more viewership they get now because they're together. That's hilarious.
It works. All right, jumping into this week's networking tip. You want to go first?
What do you got?
So I have something I did for you last week.
Mm-hmm.
Put at least 2 or 3 appointments for networking on your calendar
Yeah.
in advance, and
Yes.
don't change it. If
Yeah.
I'm going to an event on that night, I'm not booking something else that night.
Well, like that breakfast that you told me about, like that's what on the 24th of October. We got plenty of time to schedule
excuses.
around it.
Put it on the calendar, block it out, make
Yeah.
sure you do it. Because
Yeah.
what I'm hearing from a lot of people, I don't have time. Well, what do you think? I just make up time and find my way. I put it on my calendar.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday night, my wife says to me, what do you got this week? Are you going out? I'm like, I'm out Monday night. And she's like, yes, I don't have to cook. Because any night I go out for networking because she knows I'm eating out. She's eating out. She ain't cooking. Or she's having cereal night.
I had a good networking event last week for the Melville Chamber. Forgot the name of the place already, but it was great. And my tip for that, because I've seen so many people that I knew, and they were all tending to, kind of come and talk to me, but I just kept making my way away from them and going to the people I don't know. I didn't want to just, hang around the people that I knew, and it was easy to. Obviously, we were at a cocktail hour,
sure.
But I just kept, as soon as we started the crowd together, and then I seen it was people that we've seen at Tequila Tuesdays and things like that. I just kept moving from the circle, go to a brand new person, and talk, man.
You want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you don't want to be sitting around comfortable.
As soon as I felt comfortable, I was like, this is the wrong time to go.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Trade show tip of the week.
Got trade show coming up.
Yes, we do. Order your pens, your tablecloth, your tchotchkes, your raffle item. Get them in order. Get your house in order. We have 3 weeks until our trade show. Pods is going to be at the Melville Chamber Business Expo as well as the Pack Pros. You still have some things to get.
Yep.
I'm all set. Everything that I had. Actually, you have a lot of your stuff, but
I'm gonna get a few little tchotchkes. I'm gonna get
the
the pens and things like that. Everything else is already.
I was
set.
fortunate that I was able to pre-set up at Tequila Tuesday, so I'm ready. I have everything in a box.
Well, I'm pretty prepped too. I had the table there, so we already
you
got.
You don't even know where that table is. You have no idea.
You put the table away, didn't you?
Yeah, it's in the pod. It's in the pod. Of course I did. All right, listen. We're gonna take a couple of minute break here. We're up to old-fashioned time.
Oh yeah.
Time to do old-fashioned. Nope, camera's over there. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you. There we go. Back in for episode number 20 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. We are here with Ty White.
How you doing, everybody?
And our special guest today is Rob Pecha from 1031 Rob.
Oh, yeah.
I met Rob about 4 or 5 years ago around COVID time. We were both in a networking group called Connects.
Yep.
A lot of Zoom. I think we did a couple in-persons with the group, but then I think I did a lunch one day with my old pack and load guy in the city with a few other men, and that was probably like 2 years ago, so it's been a while.
That's right.
Welcome back into my life.
Great to meet you.
But I got to move.
Thanks for having me.
I got to move him.
Oh, really?
So he calls me recently saying, I'm moving from Staten Island to Jersey. Can you help me? And blah, blah, blah. I help him. I got him his container. And that's the art of networking. Yeah, I stayed in his life every couple of years. We or heard of each other. But when he needed something, he remembered where to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. It was actually our old neighbor that said, "Oh, it's easy. You go on pods.com." I said, "Hold on. I know Eddie Pods.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
going on pods.com. We're calling Eddie Pods."
And that's
Got the
music
job
to what
done.
he is. So why are we here doing old fashioned?
Yeah. So we're doing old fashioned time.
Good chair.
Yeah, there you go. I just want to make sure that they hear you. Old fashioned time is a representative of our friendship and how we met, and I love old fashions because I get to say I turned him from a tequila guy to a bourbon guy. We met over an old fashioned at a networking event, and we sat down. We both spoke about what we both do and how we could help each other and how we could help each other's clients and things like that. And from there, we built this relationship on him teaching me things in the grassroots ways of building business, whereas I was kind of more into the digital side of things and trying to figure everything out through digital marketing. And he's like, oh, if you get your feet to the ground and actually meet people, you'll see some things. But then also even on the technology side, I was showing him some things that were able to help him. So it's an old fashioned and new fashion that we brought together. And
Coming
it's
together.
coming together, and it represents our friendship. So
Nice.
to that, we
So
always
that
do
we
a toast.
do a toast.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Eddie Pods, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
meeting you.
So what's today's example of old and new? I know it's
So,
sports related.
Old and new today, we have where we watch our sports highlights.
So when I was a boy,
Yeah.
Channel 2, Warner Wolf, he was the go-to guy. Len Berman on Channel 4, go-to guy. And then when I turned 14, this thing called ESPN came into action. And it was that up until about three years ago. And where did it go?
It went to streaming. It went to be honest with you, you don't even have to watch the games anymore. Now you can go on YouTube and they just play clips of all the made baskets or all the made receptions or all things like that. So
Make it easy for you.
Yeah, but you miss so much, you
I
know?
know.
Like
I
just
know.
because the guy missed a shot or something didn't mean he did a great move or was a great play. It would have made you go ooh ah ah. But it does help when you're busy like we are and you don't get a chance to maybe watch every game. I'm a basketball guy. I love basketball season. But there are a million games on all the time. You can't watch them. It's not like Sunday where, football Sunday, it's one day you watch football. Basketball, it's every day. So you get to go on your YouTubes and stuff. But ESPN, when I was younger, it was Stephen A. and Skip Bayless.
There you go, Skip.
That's what I
Bayless
grew
and
up
Stephen
on.
A.
Them going back and forth. But even now, I feel like that's all kind of dying off a little bit. Not as many people tune in to broadcast television even anymore. People don't even watch TV. Everything's a streaming.
Everything's
thing
on
now.
demand.
Everything's on demand.
streaming
Everything's
on demand.
streaming. So
I'm going to call you out, Ty.
Hmm.
You're not following the news. I can't believe that was what you said earlier was your highlight of the weekend. Did you not hear who got traded? You.
Because we were talking football. I was gonna wait till the basketball stuff, but listen, I am extremely excited about Carl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
I am extremely excited about it. I am.
Didn't seem excited about it.
Does
I can't believe you didn't bring that
I just don't
up.
think he's the gritty player
that Randall was?
that the
Randall's
Knicks
gonna get it.
need. He's a little soft for
Alright.
a big guy. So,
Alright.
but we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see. So what do we got next?
So, best business decision of the week.
What do you got?
I spent Sunday in my office cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
go to the store getting supplies, and updating my password list.
Oh,
Get myself organized.
You definitely needed to do that.
That folder's empty, bro. I had to get organized. And that was what I did. That was the best decision because the phone wasn't ringing.
Mhm.
No kids in the house. Nobody interrupting me. Just me and the lousy Jets football team. It was great. How about you?
I was able to dig and get a little bit more information into my cold calling lists and not only get the where they are, the dates, and I was actually able to get the emails now as well. So I'm doing my 3-touch thing, and it's been working a lot. I've been converting a lot more leads.
What are the 3 touches?
Text, call, text, and email.
There you go.
So if you could say 4, because the voicemail, if they don't answer, man, you got to leave that voicemail.
True.
I'm getting so many callbacks. I was just doing a job yesterday on Sunday, and I totally forgot this person that I called. They just called me out of nowhere to book a job, and it's just from I didn't even speak to them. I left a voicemail, and she was like, "Oh, it's a great voicemail," And those 3 touches really has been converting higher on my leads.
And you? Best business decision of the week?
I would say best business decision of the week. I'm a little old-fashioned in this regard, but I still call my clients for their birthdays.
There you go.
People think I'm, super
No.
intelligent or like I have an excellent memory. I'm just good about my reminders.
You're-
But
yeah.
religiously, I call my clients every year for their birthday.
Wow.
See what I do, and I'll get into it more later. I don't have to do a lot of hand-holding with my clients, so they don't hear from me a lot.
Mhm.
But I always call them on their birthdays. It keeps me top of mind, and it's like, hey, just as a reminder, I'm in your corner if you need anything. You never know when that's going to fish out a new client. Case being last week, called the client for his birthday. Hey, thank you so much. Oh, by the way, I have a neighbor that I have to give your information to, and
Exactly.
here you
Bingo,
go.
bingo,
It's a new
bingo.
referral I didn't have, and I was just being nice.
Mhm.
It doesn't take me 30 seconds to wish somebody happy
Yeah.
birthday, but they feel good. They're thinking of me. I'm top of mind again. So that continues to be a great business practice.
I have a drawer in the desk that he sits at in my office, and it's got 3 thank you cards. 2 thank yous and one birthday. They mean a lot. When someone takes one of them's from Chris Chanchewy,
Yeah.
and one of them's from Galuzzo,
Mhm.
and one of them's from my girl up at the Bristol Blues. But I don't get too many cards, but 2 thank yous and a birthday card, I appreciate that more. And I keep them. I don't just toss it up and throw it out. So that's awesome. Big win of the week. I was telling Rob before, the big win of the week for me was my daughter breaking down in Georgia on a road trip with her girlfriends to see the boys at Georgia, and she got a flat tire. And the young man that she was going to visit is a good friend of the family.
Mhm.
Kid knows I'll kick his ass if anything happens. They couldn't find the lock key for the rim. I told him to go check the glove box. He checked the glove box. Got it, Mr. Edelman. She'll be on her way, no problem. I'm like, you sure you got this? And he's like, I got this. And 3 hours later, she was back at campus. Everything was good. So to me, dad of 4 girls, girl breaks down. That's a big win that I didn't have to call AAA, jump on a plane. Any of those things could have happened. Big win.
How about you?
Big win of the week. Had 2 large clients that came my way. It just goes to show, you got to have the staying power of being a business owner. And
Yeah.
you got to be in it to win it. I mean, this picture here, that speaks to me. I'm an ex-military guy, as you know, being in the Air Force. And the pandemic hit, right? And a lot of people stuck their heads in the sand and said, oh, no, nobody's writing business. Nobody's doing anything.
Bullshit.
The world's going to hell. Well, you got 2 choices. You can stick your head in the sand and hope that the storm passes, or you can put your head down and go to war. And that's exactly what I did. At the height of the pandemic, I was in 13 networking groups. Not because people were doing business. Business was stalled, particularly on my front. But I was planting those seeds for the future. And people ask me,
How's
Rob,
that sound?
how the heck did you pull off your best year ever in 2023 when most of my counterparts were down 40 to 70%?
Yeah.
I said, for that reason. I kept planting those seeds. I kept going to war. There's only so much you can control, but you can get your message out there. And that's why I'm here today. You gave me an opportunity, and I want to share it with you guys.
It's funny. A lot of people use COVID as an excuse for not having success. 2 years afterwards, people still using COVID as not having success. Bullshit to that. Learn to pivot. Whatever way you have to pivot, stop making excuses. Either you're cutting it or you're not. You're putting the effort in or you're not. Or your head's in the sand, like you
Right.
said.
And I'm a girl dad, too, just like you. I
Yeah.
have 2 very good reasons to keep selling.
Keep selling. Keep
Yep.
selling. What about you?
I just had a great week, man. Crushed it on the phone. It was a little slow at the September was a little bit slow, and the end of the month just came in nice and hot. Like I said, just changed up a little strategy and dug a little deeper and got some stuff. Calendar's looking nice.
Cool. Best new connection of the week. So we do this because we want to, like you just said, you're planting all those seeds. It's so nice when they come to fruition. So nice. So I used to be part of the Connecticut Chamber of Commerce. He came up with me a few times. I did it for 2 years. Went up once a month, chamber meetings, met people, did my usual thing. And I got a call last week. And the guy's like, the wife and I are moving to Washington. I'm like, D.C. or West Coast? He goes, West Coast. And, I'm a sales guy. It's ringing in my ears. I know this is money. This isn't a $5,000 move. This is an $8,000 move. That's a big in my world. And I ran him through a quote, gave him the numbers, gave him the dates, did all the legwork, and I sent him the email, and he goes, okay, what's next? Like, there was no contemplating. There was, we're doing this. Do it. And when that happens, you're just like, all those seeds I planted, sometimes it takes 6 months, sometimes it takes 9 months. But when they pop, you're like, fucking hey, man, that's awesome.
Yep.
Best new connection. I met the owner of Jiffy Junk at my last event, and I just coming into my business as I came in, that meant a lot to me. Just being able to meet him, and I'm gonna just set up a lunch with him to sit down, pick his brain, talk to him, and see how maybe we can collaborate. It's like, 'cause he seems very interested in me, and he even pulled me up in front of his crew, and he was like kind of like showing me up. He's like, you see this guy? He's doing it on his own. You guys are complaining, and like they're like, he's like, look, so I want to sit down with him and see where it goes.
Best new connection?
Best new connection for me, I recently got introduced to a highly transactional real estate attorney in Manhattan. So the more transactional, the better in my world, because they encounter these things called 1031 transactions. That was an excellent referral, and I see a lot of business coming out of that.
Nice.
Do you see a lot of business coming from Long Island?
Sometimes. Business can come at me from every corner of the country. Okay. The bulk of my business, like 99% of it, I derive from my own backyard, meaning the boroughs. A lot of Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn.
So in my course of networking, when I bump into a real estate attorney, I should make an email introduction for you.
Real estate attorneys, the more transactional, the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, you never know where it's going to lead.
You never
Plant
know.
that seed, but...
And look, like the pods thing, I always knew you as Eddie Pods, and I'm like, initially I'm like, what the heck is that? Well, now I know very well what it is, and I'm your customer. So
it's funny, because
you got to be in it to win it.
I didn't know for like a year and a half. What the fuck is 1031, Rob? What? It was a time when we were all coming up with monikers. So it seemed for Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Everyone had some kind of. I'm like, oh, what is this 1031 thing? Until I found out, wow, that's really something important.
I deliberately let people swim in the mystery.
Oh yeah.
People have thought I do Halloween promotions. They're like, oh, 1031. He's like a Halloween guy. I've had people think I'm radio. They're like, oh, 1031 Rob, you must do radio. And I'm like, I don't care what you think it is, as long as I leave those numbers with you. There's a method to my madness.
All right.
So we're gonna get into more of this 1031.
Yep.
Can you share your journey into 1031, Rob, and what caused you to start all of this?
Yeah. So I'm a financial advisor by license.
Okay.
So I joined the industry in 2008. Great year to start financial services, right?
High school.
Yeah, that's when the market crashed. That's why he's mocking it.
though I had a good run out of the gate, but I started like a lot of financial advisors do. So I did the life insurance, long-term care, annuities, pension max, portfolio maximization. Tried all the different flavors of being a financial advisor. So did that up until 2012. 2012 is when I came across this specialty that I'm in now. So it's reserved for independent broker-dealers. So my licenses are with an independent broker-dealer out of Chicago that have these modular 1031 programs that I represent. So not every broker-dealer out there on the street has them. You have to be with an independent broker-dealer, and particularly one that specializes in these offerings. So what I liked about it was that it was very underserved. So even in a big city, like I run around the concrete jungle all the time, I know who my competitors are. Chances are I was attached to them in the past. But I like the uniqueness of the space. It's very underserved. It's very, very niche. And it's empowering. I mean, I meet with high-profile real estate attorneys and investment sales brokers and CPAs all the time, and they could be very good at what they do, top of their game. But they just don't know that there's this hidden little product that's been around for over 20 years now, and they're just not recommending it to their clients. Meanwhile, it's very, very empowering. I like to say, tired, stuck, or out of luck. You call 1031 Rob. Chances are I can help. At the very least, I can bring another option to the table and give you more confidence inside of that transaction. So how did 1031 Rob LLC come to be, right? Or the nickname 1031 Rob.
We like nicknames.
So fast forward from 2012 to 2018. 2018 in November is when my first daughter, Madison, was born. And I just remember feeling different. A week later, I turned 40. I'm a dad now, and I'm like, what am I doing? I've been doing this for a while. I really like the space, but I've always been attached to somebody else, right? Another outfit. And it was all a lot of head trash that was holding me back. I couldn't take that leap before because, you know what? I needed their website, their leads, their hand-holding. They had a better this. They know it better than I do.
Medical benefits.
It was all the head trash that I allowed to live in my head for all that time, from 2012 to 2018. Finally now being a dad and then turning 40, there was just a shift. And I said, you know what? I don't BS clients. I have a military background. I'm very organized, so I know how to leverage my resources, and I'm very quality centric. I'm very particular about the way I run my business. That's why I'm a solo. I don't have any teammates, but I'm very, very quality centric, not only with people but also products. And I knew that's how I wanted to operate my practice. So that sort of springboarded me into truly going off on my own. I'm like, okay, I'm a dad now. I know what I want to do. I want to plant roots in this. It's very underserved. It's niche. It's clever. Like it's not saturated, right? Like some of the things I've done in the past. And I said, you know what? I'm going to run with this. And I came up with this nickname. Honestly, the nickname was born out of laziness. I was going to a networking group every Wednesday morning, and this was before the pandemic. And, you get up, you do your commercial, and I didn't get a good night's sleep before. I just really did not want to be there that early. And I get up to do my commercial. I'm like, I kind of blew it off. I'm like, hey, guys, 1031 Rob, you guys all know what I do. And I sat down. It kind of got a chuckle, but then people started calling me that.
What does that mean?
And then it started catching on. And it got to the point where people were no longer remembering my last name. They were saving me in their phones as 1031 Rob. And I said,
that's how it's in my phone.
And I said, you know what? I'm onto something here. And the beauty of it is, and I said I kind of swim in the uncertainty, it doesn't matter to me if you know what it is or not. If you swim in my world, meaning if you're a real estate attorney or a CPA or an investment sales broker that will encounter these transactions, then yeah, I'm going to go a little deeper and tell you more about it. But if you're not in the world of real estate, just remember me for those 4 numbers. Just remember, hey, he calls himself 1031 Rob. I've gotten referrals from the weirdest places, and they're like, I don't know what the heck that is, but he calls himself 1031 Rob, and it turned into business. So you just never, ever, ever really know.
That's awesome.
But what I do, there is a method to my madness. Whether I'm on something like this or I'm posting something on LinkedIn, I'm burning those 4 numbers into people's heads all day long. So when I'm not busy carrying my dad, my girls, being a dad, then I'm doing that. I'm getting my message out there. I'm getting those numbers into everybody's head because you never know. And pandemics will happen, but you can still get out there and get your message out there effectively, and you got to get a little creative with it.
Nice.
It has a cachet, and here's how it worked for me and him. I was in my breakfast meeting, and I mentioned him, someone from my old networking world, 1031 Rob, that I just moved him and his family. The CPA Getzel, Getzel, in my group, calls me after the meeting. What's with your 1031 guy? Is he for real? I'm like, he's for real. He goes, you know what it is? I'm like, I know what it is. He's like, do an introduction. And within 5 minutes,
I didn't even finish reading the intro email. He called me.
He called right away. So that moniker, 1031, registers to people in his that swim in his world.
They know exactly.
They know exactly.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love being able to just bang, bang. Here it is. Here it is, Getzel. He's the guy. And he called him right away. And again, if you get something, Getzel's a great networker because he comes across a lot of high worth people and business deals, and he worked. And I think I'm going to.
He asked a lot of good questions.
I think I'm going to introduce you to Chris DeVicentis in my networking group. He's working for LPL now. He just left Morgan Stanley, senior VP now, pretty important role. He's got all my investments, but he is in the high net worth world. That's where he works. He's taking care of my shit as a favor because I ain't high net. But
also being so concentrated in these real estate products that I operate in. It allows me to get along with other professionals that have the exact same licenses. So frequently people will be like, okay, he's Series 7 license and he has a 66. Like, I don't want to play with him because we're after the same money. Wrong. I only do this because I choose not to touch the other stuff. That's why other financial guys and gals out there, I'll get along really well with when they realize that I don't mess with their stuff and they don't have what I have.
Okay, I got 2 guys to introduce you to. Ed Kotat's another one. He was both of them were at Tequila Tuesday. He works for a huge place on Long Island. He does recruiting, training. They do life. They do investments. The whole gamut. Full service, gorgeous building. But again, connector. So I'm going to connect you to 2 men after this meeting. My question, and this is awesome because you and I talked about this a little bit ago. What does a sales warrior mean to you in the context of your work? But it's not your work, it's in your life. I know you're a military guy, but how does sales warrior apply to you?
Sales warrior is a mentality that you swim in day and night. You never shut it off. And, some people's jobs are straightforward. 9 to 5, you go in, you come home, the work doesn't follow you. As entrepreneurs, we're always on. We're always thinking of clever ways to get our message out there, leveraging things like technology. But also being good with the human element, right? The simple things like I mentioned, actually picking up the phone and calling a client for his birthday, old school. Yeah. That stuff goes a long way. So you always have to hone your craft and you always have to be plugged into it. I'm always thinking, I'm very much a planner. I have a military background, so I'm very organized. But I'm always calculating the next step. How can I get better? How can I improve my message? How can I streamline the big words and the jargon and the things that investors really do not care about? You want to break it down to the heart of what's important to them. Yeah. and more specifically, the pain points. What kind of pain points can I alleviate? That's why I'm here. That's why you want 1031 Rob in the mix, because one of the pitfalls of being so niche is that you don't need me every time. But I tell people I am not for every exchange. Ex-military, I wear it on my sleeve. I am not for every exchange, but I will help you in any way I can. You might have seen in my signature, I call myself your 1031 exchange quarterback.
I did see that.
You know now I'm not a huge football fan,
I
so
know.
that's not why. But I do
Funny,
that. I do that, and I got that trademarked.
Yeah.
Because,
Oh, did you?
Because I do all the hand holding, so I make sure people understand like what the heck a 1031 is, and who are the professionals you need in your corner. It's very much a symphony. You need everybody to weigh in: the CPA, the real estate attorney. You need this thing called a qualified intermediary that holds the funds in escrow. So it's very much a symphony, and I pull up a chair just to infuse confidence and give more options. That's it. So sometimes people will not need me, and I know that. I can qualify it pretty quickly.
But they may
in the
need you some
conversation.
other time.
But they'll remember I did something good for them,
Of
that I
course.
helped them. I will get you to the finish line regardless. If you buy these products, great. That's how I feed my 2 little girls, because this is all I sell.
So
But if not, I will help in any way I can.
for our audience, can you just describe what a 1031 is?
Sure. So in basic terms, 1031,
Maybe.
it's a tax code. So the
Okay.
1031 was created in 1921. It actually started with farmers as a way for them to swap horses and land without any tax consequence. So it started in 1921. Fast forward to today, the definition of like kind is huge. There's a ton of stuff that's considered like kind. You got duplex, triplex, biplex, mineral rights, air rights, triple net leases. All kinds of things are considered like kind for the exchange. So you can sell a brownstone in Brooklyn and move into a warehouse in Colorado. It doesn't need to literally be the same thing. It just needs to be held for investment purposes. So where I come into the mix here is I have this modular basket of products, typically with very, very low minimums as compared to some of the other stuff that investors can find. So the 1031 is a tax play. It allows you to sell investment property without incurring those capital gains tax. And oftentimes, CPAs appreciate this, there's something called depreciation recapture in the mix. So if you don't do a 1031, or if you do one and you mess it up, it's a big number. So everybody likes the idea of a 1031 because you keep more money in your pocket instead of hemorrhaging it out to Uncle Sam. But the 1031 is easy to mess up. So there are timelines and rules. Sometimes people think, you have this thing called a 45-day ID. People think 45 days is a lot of time. It's not. Sometimes they put all their eggs in one basket, and then something happens down the line and you owe the tax. So that's where I step in. So you heard me say before, tired, stuck, or out of luck. It kind of equates to the profiles of people that I can help. But anybody embarking on a 1031 with the sale of an investment property, I should probably speak to just to let them know that this exists. And look, I have people that I'm an all-encompassing solution for that are saying, look, I'm done being a landlord. I don't want to deal with the tenants, toilets, and trash. And I say, well, if you want to trade that for
Triple
the tennis,
T's.
if you want to trade that for the tennis, the tea time, and the travel, if that sounds better than the other 3 T's, what I represent are passive investment real estate products. So I could put it on autopilot for them, get them good diversification across different asset classes in different parts of the country. Sometimes people have a little residual left over. So say they do a 1031 and they find something on their own. They have some scraps left over that would otherwise get taxed. I'm good for that. And I'm good as a non-obligatory backup. So for the folks that are aiming towards something, I said, look, more power to you, but use me as a backup just in case. I've had plenty of clients that said, Rob, I really don't want this. And I'm like, I'm sitting right here.
What do you say at the end of the phone call?
Oh yeah, if it's an extra set of hands.
Extra set of hands.
There you go.
Should you have any issues with the people you
just
hired,
an extra set
I
of
have an
hands.
extra set of hands.
Just an extra set of hands. That's
so,
it.
So that's what I can be. I can
Yeah.
put guardrails on the thing so it doesn't fall apart. And look,
Yeah.
in the end, I've had clients that said, Rob, even though this wasn't my first choice or even my second choice, it's better than having a failed exchange and paying 40-something% capital gains tax.
I'm gonna.
Sounds like a lot of hand holding you have to do with your clients too, because since
it-
it's so easy to
it does have a
sounds
lot
like it's
of
easy to
moving
screw up.
parts.
So you have to really guide them.
Yeah, and you want to
to-
make sure that what I call it the advisory board, your 1031 advisory board. So you need the real estate attorney to weigh in on the legal side of things. I don't give tax or legal advice. I'm very clear about that. You need the CPA to weigh in on the tax side of things, because sometimes people start coming at me, Rob, I sold this property, I did these kind of improvements, I have this kind of, I'm like, let me stop you right there. I'm not a CPA. That's the CPA's side to weigh in on. Is the 1031 even worth it? What does that tax consequence look like for you? Sometimes people think it's a huge tax bite and it's not, and sometimes they think it's irrelevant and it's huge. So you need the CPA to weigh in, you need the real estate attorney to weigh in. Obviously, you need an investment sales broker or somebody to sell that property and maybe find you another property if you're looking to own outright. And then you need this thing called a qualified intermediary. That is a third party that holds the funds in escrow until you tell them where to go. And I'm not any of those. I don't compete with any of them. I just pull up a chair and align with them. I make sure they're all talking because, as I always tell my clients, articulate your wildest dreams to us, the advisory board, and then let us all play our individual roles to go to work for you and check as many boxes as we can.
Do you have like your Avenger squad of your five where it's like
assemble
the perfect I need this deal to get done. I need the five best. I
have my go-tos, and as I said before, just like with the products that I represent. So again, I do have a lot to choose from with these real estate products. They're not all created equal. So you have some new fly-by-night guys that try to grab market share with a higher rate of return. I'm very conservative. I like conservative underwriting. I like companies that have a good track record. So I whittle down my list pretty significantly based on track record, but I'm no different with people. When I'm recommending a qualified intermediary or a real estate attorney or investment sales broker, they have to be at the top of their game. I have to know that they're left in good hands.
Nice.
What are some of the common challenges you face in the commercial real estate sales, and how do you overcome them?
Common challenges?
Yeah.
Well, there's only so much you can control in the mix, right? Like you have things like a pandemic and then business slows down. Or this year has been slower. There was uncertainty about the rates. And then also
It's been uncertain.
The election coming up. So
There's an election coming up?
So you have people that, look, if there's no urgency and they don't have to sell, they'll kind of just wait it out and see how it plays out. I learned a long time in this business, since I went truly solo and created 1031 Rob. There's only so much of that mix I can control. I can't accelerate, them to the finish line. I can't make it happen for them. All I can do is be damn clear what my message is and how I can help so that they know to call me when the time is right. And that's it. I'm contrary to how I started in the business, when I first got exposed to the space in 2012, I was with people that the mentality was there's a certain email you can craft and you can move that needle forward, or you can pick up the phone and call, have that right conversation to move. No, you can't. You can't, because it follows a process. It follows a very specific process, and if there is no urgency for the client, there's nothing I can do about it. I can send glossy brochures to your house all day. It's not going to move the needle. So just be a resource. People that know me know I'm very organized and I'm very responsive. You will get me right away. So people know me for that, and then the military background, of course. I'm very quality centric, and I have that discipline that I've ported from that experience half a life ago into my business now.
That's what was spinning through my head. I have another question, but what was spinning through my head as you were speaking was the military background. I'm sure really gives you so much as far as just your discipline in business. Like the business stuff you can learn, but it's the discipline that is gonna cause everything to succeed. You know what I mean? Right. So that's something that I admire, and I'm like, is there a way for someone who didn't go to the military to acquire those same tools, to look at life the same way, to wake up in the morning and make their bed like a military guy? And I'm sure you probably still do those things in your house, don't you?
I'm pretty regimented.
You still do.
My wife says I'm pretty particular and I'm pretty predictable. So there's certainty.
Yeah, but those are good qualities going into business to already have.
For sure.
And
I think just what we're looking at here, right? How to become a sales warrior. I mean, that image speaks to me. It's, as I said, put your head down, go to war always, and take things in stride. Like I've been in this business long enough that I've had really great years and I've had horrible years.
Oh yeah.
And you have to take it in stride. The good is not going to last forever and the bad is not going to last forever. But you have to have a certain discipline to keep that business moving forward.
Yeah.
Generate the right conversations, even in the absence of a payday. Because that's
it's not always about the money.
It's not always about the money.
You must have been happy when I said the best business decision of the week I made was getting organized on the Sunday.
Absolutely.
It could be this. No, this was the best decision. I went to Staples, set up my office, cleaned up, files, this, that, regimented.
And that's something that he teaches me is in sports, it's like you can have the guy who's super talented and he does this crazy stuff, but there's always the guy that has the intangibles that, you have to do these things every day no matter what. The highs and lows, like you said. I'll have highs. I'll go close a bunch of deals and I'll ride the high of all the money that comes in. But it's the intangibles of the everyday doing the same consistent things every single day that keeps that consistent.
Right.
And
you always have to keep it in perspective. As I said, the bad days are not going to last forever, and the good days are not going to last forever. It's not like I have a great year and like my income is ratcheted in. No, it's not. you go back to square one at the turn of a new calendar. So
One of the things that I always say to my bosses, especially when I want something, is I know how to compartmentalize my job. From sales warrior to you owe me fucking money, pay me. You know,
goes into collection mode.
Yeah.
But one doesn't affect the other. Always separate. And I'm well respected for it. And that gentleman who we were talking about a little bit earlier, he couldn't do that. He was the crybaby who cried every day, complained every day, day in, day out. And everyone was like, "I'll just quit already." You're up next. Question.
So, what trends do you see shaping the future of the commercial real estate market? Where do you see it going?
So I definitely see a strong finish to this year. So
Okay.
contrary to how the year kind of started, it was slower than I'm typically used to seeing. Q4 seems to be very positive. You have people coming off the sidelines. And as I've been saying all along, you have the complainers and as you said with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Some people are always
Yeah.
stuck in COVID.
They're still there.
The deals are still happening. And people ask me again, Rob, how did you pull off your strongest year ever in 2023 when so many other people were hurting? You got to be out there. You got to get your message out there because the deals are happening. You just have to be in front of them at the right time. So, and that's what keeps me going. I never know when I'm going to wake up to a new email or a new phone call and it's going to be a life-changing deal. They are out there. They will find you. But not if you don't put in the work, not if you don't try. So
Yeah,
always go to work.
No,
always
you do that.
always keep your head screwed on the right way. And for me, it's the motivator of being a dad and having two little girls.
Two little girls, man.
That's
all
what
I
it
gotta
is.
say.
That's
And
really
they
what
have
it is.
expensive tastes, so
Yeah.
no end to my 1031ing in sight. I'm gonna keep soldiering on just like that.
Soldiering on,
Well, that
man.
kind of goes into my next question. Where's 1031 Rob in the next 5 years?
So I see myself staying the course. I mean, always trying to build a better mousetrap, as they say.
Yeah.
But I frequently get asked like, are you gonna hire other people? I'm very particular, so it kind of goes back to my military background. I'm very quality centric and have a particular way of doing things. It's also why I don't have a VA or virtual assistant yet. I like doing things my way.
Same way, bro.
So, as far as like building 1031 Rob out with people, I don't know. I'm happy being a solo, but I also find that being a solo grounds me, and maybe this speaks to your military question. In the absence of having that military background, how can you be rooted in a business? Well, I'm my own everything. I'm my own accounts payable, receivable, cheerleading, marketing, you name it. It's all me. So I can't blame anybody else.
It's all on
The
you.
success is mine and the failure is mine. I can't pass that to anybody else.
All right.
So that keeps you plugged in.
Last question. This is our favorite last question. He has not seen our podcast, so he doesn't know what's coming.
Oh, I love this question.
If you could have dinner with anyone in the history of the world since the beginning of time, who would you want to sit down and have dinner with?
I'd say Jesus Christ.
That's me, bro. That was mine.
I love how he was off the cuff with it, though. He definitely.
No,
Yeah.
that was mine as well. I'm a Jew who spent my 20s with my daughter going to a Methodist church. Didn't know there was a difference between Methodist and Catholic. Had no idea. I'm a Jew. What do I know? I meet a new woman, and she has her church. I have my church, and I'm like, oh, we have to get married in my church. She's like, yeah, no. First of all, I'm not Methodist. I'm like, what do you mean? Not the same thing. You got to come to my church. And I did, and me and her taught religion for 12 years together.
Wow.
Every Saturday morning, we taught all three of our kids. So Jesus Christ was my answer because I got some questions for him, man. I really do.
Yeah, I think that one would be pretty cool.
So where can we reach 1031 Rob? Speak to your camera,
So
email, phone numbers.
super easy. With a name like 1031 Rob, I can't hide. Even during the pandemic, I had it on my mask. People would Google it.
That's right.
So I got to be careful what I say. But 1031rob.com is my website. If you'd like my digital business card, that's meet1031rob.com. And my email is info@1031rob.com.
And how we reaching Ty White and the Pack Pros?
ThePackPros.com, and it's Ty at ThePackPros.com. And you can always give me a call any day at 631-626-6290.
So I'm Eddie Pods. If you need a pod, you call 631-334-8587. Or if you'd like Ty and myself to come in and help your team grow, give you tips from the book, bring it in more, you can find me at eddie@becomeasaleswarrior.com. Coming to the end of the show. It was really great having you on. It's been a few years.
Eddie
Loved
Pods.
having you.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
And we roll
Great
in
to meet
right
you, man.
on time. Show's in. Look at the time. There it is.
All right.
45.
Until next
baby.
week, episode number 21. Have a great day, all.
See you guys.